Hi everyone, Alex here. I'd just like to take a moment to thank some of our patrons. Alex Alowason, Sam Lydiat, Jessica Conrad, Amanda Whitehouse, Smruthi Maganti, Grayson, Selena Yu, KC Milheiser, Destiny Catherine, Meg Tumney, Sarah L. Morpin, Nicholas Glover, Kaylee Prusak, Alex 1000 Beatles in a Trenchcoat, Bletz, Isabel Wilson, Tria Frog, Shannon Clark, Caitlin Borgman, Ripley King, Patreonoid Android. Thank you all. We really appreciate your support. If you'd like to join them, go to www.patreon.com/Rusty Quill and take a look at our rewards. Welcome to episode 149 of the Rusty Quill Gaming Podcast. I'm your host and GM Alex, and you're with me today I have...
Ben Meredith, Bryn Monroe,
Lydia Nicholas, and Helen Gould.
And who are you playing?
Zolf Smith,
Hamid and Skraak.
Still the birthday girl!
Yay! Your birthday to last 1,000 years!
Dawn of the second birthday.
Let's not do the Daniel Barker birthday all over again.
Oh no!
And because twice in a row we've cut you off before you managed to get the words out.
Azu.
Because we're all excited about the second week of Lydia's birthday.
Yeah!
Now, interestingly, we're going to pick up pretty much exactly where we started last session, which is some interesting...
All right, yes. Sorry, Alex. We'll pick up the pace.
We did some bonding over Harris and Campbell.
You're so close to getting fatigue checks for every hour that you're awake. Just
it doesn't matter.
Longer.
I can cure it all.
I know, but I just like the idea that you genuinely all do become a magic/drug-fueled nightmare that just never stops.
Yeah.
As a cleric, you're basically just steroiding people to keep going at this point.
Sal's offered me drugs.
I know.
No, I offered you potions. Excuse me.
Sal's offered me drugs.
Like I said, you're now just...
Magic drugs.
I mean, from the outside looking in, I feel bad for Wild. She's like, I'd like you to meet my team. And they're like a roided up...
Yeah, they're just tweaked out.
Tweaked out, complete mess
to save the world.
Runaway potion is basically speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Cell basically has extracts that do that.
Like, mechanically, I know these things don't work like this. You guys are shaving years off your life every session.
I got a lot of those.
Right.
Same.
With that in mind, I'm going to come back in, which was, you were looking at Showin's diary, I believe.
Yeah. And you were looking to see if he liked you.
Well, I mean, like, why would he be so up in my business? I just don't understand. I kept saying, no, go away from the village, and he was like, oh, I'm going to send my
Some men
goons.
just don't understand boundaries.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
not
found
actually an
that.
indication of them liking you. That's a bad miss. I've forgotten my words.
You know, we used to chat alchemy, and you know, I met him, and he was a strange one. Anyway, diary.
So, it is a full diary, like a hefty wodge of a book that seems to go
Start
back...
at the back.
Start at the back?
At the end, well...
No, it's a good idea.
Assume he was writing in a Japanese style.
This is correct.
The back is the beginning, so that...
Well, no, the back is the front.
I will read the earliest entry, where he's sort of setting out, one assumes what he expects from the diary, and then I will flick to the last one.
Okay, really sensible, sensible, great. So
He says things like that when something really bad's going to happen,
yeah,
so I
I'm
understand
really
it.
suspicious.
No.
It's one of those you read and it's like, you have just read an
you have
explosion.
saved-
This
You
is
saved
episode
me
149. It's episode 150 where we can't trust anything that happens.
you have saved me parsing an entire book across 20 minutes.
I'm not going to do that.
It's all good. So the opening is exactly what you would expect. To give a loose translation, something along the lines of,
This is for my memoirs, I'm so important.
no, you know what he would
Sorry,
do?
can you just have a character with that voice? I love it. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
The Japanese equivalent of, and he would write like this, something along the lines of, herein thou might findest the accounts of Yoshida Shoin. He is written in an ancient imperial mode, for a start.
He's Garth Marenghi.
And he has basically written...
Oh no! Alex has given me the yes of course look.
As played by Richard Ayoade.
Yoshida Shoin. thinker, dreamly weaver.
So what you need to be aware is this isn't Garth Marenghi. What this is just Garth Marenghi's Dark Place compressed into a single NPC.
Yeah.
So it is completely florid goddamn nonsense, and it is clear that this was meant to be published at some point.
It's sort of like, version...
Simply the thoughts and feelings of a young girl and consequently meant for publication.
Cell explains, so this is just basically, it's melodramatic trash. I don't see why anyone would read that kind of thing.
Skipping to the end.
Shade!
I just look at Azu with
Azu looks back like...
solidarity.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Skipping to the end.
Yeah.
They aren't Japanese. They might be like a child's copy of like Japanese pictographs.
Oh dear.
It isn't really pictographs. There's a decent number of sketches in there.
Yeah.
The latest sketches are extremely abstract. It is
Are the
like
entries dated?
at the first, problematically so. 16th of March. 3 p.m. 3:03 p.m. A new thought has occurred. At the end, some of the drawings cross over pages, and there are no dates of any kind. You suddenly realise, Sal, that you can literally hold it up and go flipbook style, and watch it just start fine, and then about 2/3 of the way through, it just real quick turns into, honestly, like geometric patterns.
The obvious question to
Very
ask,
abstract.
Cell will summarise that. So it degrades, clearly. I'm just going to hunt through and try and work out what exactly was happening at the point where he began to degrade, because something is happening to his thinking. I mean, look at that. That kind of abstract geometry is not doing any favours for...
Really stark difference, yeah.
Well, it's a good point. Like, is it the veins? Is it something else? Is it, whatever he's been doing to his brain?
I mean, if you have too many channel vigors, you can end up beginning to try and think in too many dimensions.
Right. So he's
Can you roll me either perception or linguistics? I don't mind which.
Perception.
This is just for you to how well you are parsing down into something.
19.
19. Okay, cool. You skip and notice that the first sort of major transition happens at the halfway point. The halfway point of the diary goes from stuff like, I was telling the Prime Ministerial candidate of the 17th Prefecture the other day about blah, 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 to basically going like Eureka and becomes all shop, no fluff.
Ooh.
It stops being a piece for publication and starts being an actual diary.
Right.
And he is fulsome. He goes into huge amounts of detail, which I'm going to parse down for you because otherwise I'm just explaining how stuff works, and it's fictional. These machines don't work, guys. I can't explain how they work because they're not real.
Partially powered by magic.
It doesn't work, so I can't.
And a wizard did it.
At some point, it does boil down to cosmagic, but in there, it effectively states the following, and I'm just going to kind of bullet point it. He has been interested in, he genuinely uses the phrase expanding his consciousness beyond the limitations of his material form. He's utterly convinced that he can do it, and at the halfway point, he has. He realises that he has built that chair in the table, and he successfully, for a short period of time, hooked him up into his entire infrastructure. He goes off for a while talking about what it's like to see from 1,000 eyes, hear from 1,000 ears, and breathe through the very fires of the earth. It goes very poetic, and for there's a brief moment where you're like...
For a while, I have to say that Cell is commenting on it, and then just they start reading quite intensely in a much more ooh. But
when he's talking about that, by the way, all of that fluff goes away. It's actually really well written, and he's clearly had what's as close can be described as like a transcendent experience. Like he genuinely is affected by this.
I mean,
He had magic mushrooms.
Wait, and also he has literally had a trend experience.
Yeah,
He's
so
transcended.
He is like, this isn't just the future for me. This is the future for everyone. This is
God.
the sort of thing that will be happening is Cell will be commenting on and then he's talking to a prime minister, and then he's talking about expanding his consciousness, like anyone would want to do that. And then he's doing this, and then no more comments, and they're just, their eyes get closer and closer to him.
Cell, what are you reading?
I shall keep going. There's far more to give.
Yes.
Alchemically speaking, at first he starts to have a couple of enormously profound insights where it's like, okay, well, that would make a 15-year brew take 15 minutes. Interesting. Then he just abandons alchemy and starts talking about how utterly it's irrelevant beyond the means to achieve this kind of transcendence. As it goes on, though, it becomes apparent that phase 1 was rigging himself up to his infrastructure. Okay? Phase 2 was being able to sustain that. He placed himself in this basically sealed bubble because, frankly, he needed to make sure that his meaty vessel didn't crap out on him. That was it. And the best way to do that is make sure that he's in basically a sealed bubble. He does start to go off on one at one point where he discovers a cave system and basically mentions that all of his labour problems are solved.
Oh, yes, okay.
He doesn't really.
Found the kobolds.
He literally doesn't go into it more than, well, that's that problem solved. Back to achieving consciousness beyond the realms of mere mortals. You also notice there's a slight evil twinge in that his thinking's very much whoever gets to do this first pretty much gets to control how other people access this kind of thing. So that's kind of, where the long-term philosophical money is, as it were.
So Garth Marenghi by way of Mark Zuckerberg.
But yeah, this is
such
getting
a bad combination.
This is getting very messy. As it proceeds, phase 2, very, very simply, was, like I said, making it sustainable, which he achieved. Phase 3 was, it'd be better to be able to just check into my meat body occasionally, but spend most of my time here. So he managed that, apparently. And then last but not least, he was like, look, flesh takes feeding, toilets are a hassle.
Sel's face while reading this has a slight and is just nodding sympathetically.
Really inefficient. He had a knee twinge, and how are you meant to think when you have a knee twinge? The solution there is to not have knees.
Sel is nodding and shrugging as if this was a conversation.
Same. big mood show.
Yeah, hashtag relatable.
Does this mean... I don't know if this is an in-character question or an out-character question.
That was Shoin.
That the body that exploded was actually Shoin's body.
It's a good question.
No, it's smeared across the floor, so I don't think we'll ever get the answer now.
We do know
It was dressed as a cleric.
It looked like one of the party. But...
So, as it continues, he basically box-ticked. It sort of starts to go wrong from here, really, where the handwriting starts to degrade. He hasn't gone completely cuckoo bananas, but nonetheless, the handwriting is starting to get a bit awkward, and he's mentioning that he's trying to jump back into the body, but it doesn't really move at the kind of speed that he needs it to, and it's getting thinner, So he's spending a lot more time in the mechanical body. He's basically making upgrades to it, of course. And then he has another sort of brainwave, which is where he's limited himself to a single static facility, and that's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. The real solution here is to make stuff that can go out into the world so he can experience more of it.
Oh no!
And he reckons he actually managed to uncover basically a body on the seabed that he reckons mechanically busy, shape-wise, he could pretty much model off. It's ideal. It could probably travel quite far.
So Shoin isn't controlling the squids. He is.
That would be really, really sensible. But he does mention as well that ideally he'd want them to be networked.
Power.
Who wants to be trapped in one? Either be all of them or none of them. So he starts focusing a lot on that.
How did he network them? Is that detail in there? Did we shut down the network?
Some sort of blue, veiny dealy.
Or maybe that's connected to the weather.
Absolutely, he does go into how they're networking. He does mention, I'm doing this a little bit out of order, Francois Henri did appear in the earlier days and was giving a little bit of help in the initial phase of how do I get from brain to infrastructure. But he very much leaves Francois Henri's stuff behind because, frankly, literally in the diary, between you and I, 'twas a dim man.
Wow, yeah, he just built an organic neural network. What an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. So he appears to have continued this work. That was what the lighthouse was for. He literally just goes, oh, massive lighthouse, I can just use that. I'll probably need a redundant power system, a phrase that will probably crop up. And then, last but not least, he is starting to get a bit bored. And people have started to nose around as his empire has spread. There is a footnote mention of you.
Oh,
an annoyance.
That is the sum total.
Aw, he did care.
He has delegated pretty much all of his earthly concerns at this point out to minions because, frankly, the infrastructure is built to take care of itself. Why would he need them? Then people start turning up. People keep trying to investigate. So he has a bit of fun. Why not? He keeps starting to reference the book that was on the bedside table. Always was his favourite. He couldn't help himself.
Oh no.
Then things go really weird when one of the parties he's quite happy with, you seem to think he's had about 5 or 6 by this point. All of them failed.
He was a dungeon boss, and adventuring parties kept trying to raid his dungeon.
Absolutely.
He's playing Dungeon Keeper.
And he was loving it.
Absolutely.
It was his favourite thing.
But one of the people that came had the blue veins, and so that infected him. That is what the cleric was.
So here's how the narrative goes. He was having a whale of a time because he's just like, listen, being transcendent is great, but it's nice to take a load off, climb inside your big brain orb, and just design some new traps for people to make for you. It's a good way to, kick back.
Jigsaw.
Then things go really weird where, for the first time in ages, one of the clerics made it all the way to the puzzle table. He plugs him in and has a nice little direct conversation, because obviously you do.
Brain to brain.
Naturally, why wouldn't you? At which
So
point...
much more efficient than those flappy meat sounds.
At which point the kind of degrade...
Yeah.
Gets very, very steep.
So a little bit of simultaneous action. When Cell starts to do that, I start hunting for the holy symbol that the cleric had.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So you said there was something weird in the cleric, right? Like the veins.
cleric's
that you
got
don't
the
know.
veins.
They have,
Right.
yeah, they're
so
infected.
that's the point. That,
Yeah.
So Shoin was not, because I was thinking like, maybe he was the source.
So
of
Shoin
the,
was protecting
but no,
himself.
He was the blue veins came to him, and relatively recently, really, in the scheme
Right.
of things.
Yeah, as far as you can tell in terms of dates, probably within the last 6 months or so. What happens is emotion returns to the man. He talks a little bit less about transcending the coils of these mere material flesh forms, and a little bit more like, I'm going to have to take some immediate action. He's afraid, basically. He's afraid of what's happening. And then he seems to have another breakthrough. He's managed to halt it.
So he mutilated what remained of himself.
He says 2 things, which are the key takeaways, which is me closing out this diary. Number 1, he says that he's managed to halt it. The cost is high, but worth it. And the second thing is, he believes that he has the means to transmit his solution across to the remainder of his network. However, he prays that he retains enough of himself that he might be able to enact this. And then it is just
Garbage.
garbage. Initially, by the way, the garbage is a lot of high adventure drawings, really badly, like stick figures with swords and like a ship and like a beach and treasure, and then it just deteriorates into lines.
Cell looks genuinely sad.
There is nothing more, by the way, to give you for that. I have been talking for like 15 minutes.
That was amazing. I loved every second of it.
I don't have any more
brilliant.
for you.
Yeah.
Okay?
That was very, very good info.
I have taken like 250 to 300 pages and given it you in about 15 minutes.
That was excellent.
Yeah, solid exposition. Well done, Alex.
Yes.
Yeah, well done. Yeah,
Polite clapping for
Yes,
me.
yes.
I'm going to do something I don't often do, which is take
Oh,
big sip
everybody
of
have some
water.
water.
on the actual recording.
Hydrate
because-
oneself.
Hey, what are you going to say to make us spit it out?
Well, apparently you're saying that right over his laptop.
Tempting. Very tempting. Info dump complete. You would like to know the holy symbol.
Yeah, I'm looking for the holy symbol. Be very careful with the glaive and stuff.
That's fine. Hephaestus specifically.
Piss.
We need to search that person's belongings. Where are their belongings?
Yeah, so I hook the holy symbol. Is it a little hammer? I'm assuming it's a little hammer.
It's a hammer and chisel combo. Cool. Think like, forgive the reference, think like Soviet Russia, it's not a sickle, it's a chisel.
Yeah. So I pick it up with my glaive and hang it right, cloak of Hephaestus.
Oh, but
I like
Hephaestus
those folks.
Grizzop.
Yes.
Who?
One of our previous
sorry,
members
yeah,
of our
you
team.
mentioned him.
He told us when he got to Rome that he'd gone to a cleric of Hephaestus and asked the cleric to build something.
Yes.
What for him?
What did he want to
A
build?
kill switch
Yes.
For what?
For
the simulacra,
Yeah.
the robots.
Right, okay.
So sorry, is the simulacra the robots or the veins? The simulacra or the veins the
I
robots?
still don't understand the connection, but Wilde and Curie both seemed very sure that the veins were somehow connected
All right.
to the robots. Now, we found warehouses full of these robots in Damascus, but we blew them all up. And we destroyed the factory that was creating them. They were being run by people who wanted to kill everyone and take over the world, as far as we could tell.
For a change.
But both Curie and Wilde seem to think there's some connection. I still haven't worked out why they think that or what the connection is, but the kill switch is potentially important, and they said that the Hephaestus cleric, they found him or someone close to him, but they denied all knowledge of it, and I don't know what. There was some sort of breakdown of communication. Like, Grizzop wasn't able to tell us everything that happened to him, but he just summarised the story.
Well, yeah, Wilde mentioned it. Yeah, before we hooked up, he was looking for not like that. Yeah, he was looking for, as you say, the Hephaestus lot, and they refused. Were they already infected? Is this even related?
Or maybe is it possible that they actually were not infected? They were continuing their own investigations, and they just didn't trust you.
I don't know. Wilde dealt with it. I didn't.
Well,
Things that Wilde would have
Or
said
him.
is pretty much everything you said beyond. He genuinely believed that Grizzop did commission him to make a thing. He has a pet theory, which is that the Hephaestus lot just disappeared it. As for why, who could say? It could have been a whim of the person that built the thing for him.
Of course.
But
Or the oath that
Yeah,
caused him to
exactly.
sweat.
I mean,
as we all know,
yeah,
yes, in
absolutely,
the thing. Right. So Showin is almost like just a sideshow for this.
He thinks he might have found a way to stop the spread of the infection, but
Yeah.
only to himself. And did he transmit it to the network? That wasn't clear. And what is the network? He said he was staying in touch with these squid bodies, but I couldn't tell how he was staying in touch
He
with them.
could have perhaps uploaded the meaning, the cure or the stop thing to one of the squids as a distributed network to make sure that it was not destroyed. And so it could be floating around in these squids.
So we might need to...
Oh, here's a better translation for you. Kraken. The word is kraken, not squid.
Krakens.
Right.
Krakens, sorry. Squids are the little ones. The
Yeah,
Krakens,
sure,
they're
sure.
Big ones.
the big ones like we.
But what is it?
So we might have to capture a kraken.
I am going to
sounds
give you some
fun.
knowledge via knowledge profession sailor. Like,
Okay.
just legends of the thing. Krakens. 1. Pretty sure they're all dead. 2.
Wrong, but yeah.
2. The myths go as follows. Number 1 can control the weather.
Oh, okay.
You ruled this out early in your investigations.
Yeah.
Krakens, there tends to be one, the reason being extremely intelligent creatures, extremely malicious creatures, and they can be communicated with, bargained with, and otherwise talked with. It's widely believed that even if there were Krakens, they were killed off by time, if nothing else. Like
Or dragons.
There are a couple of accounts that are very, very early of like people who claim to have seen Krakens fighting each other. It doesn't really amount to
Kraken
much.
Civil War.
Right, so hang on a minute.
But we're talking at least
So many arms.
pre-Rome.
Yeah,
that Krakens
yeah.
have been
Lay
seen,
down
at
your arms.
least.
I have so many.
Right. So Showin found a Kraken corpse. Is now building his own Krakens. Himself as Krakens. They control the weather. Oh my, what? So this is just Showin's ego.
I mean, so Shuen was having a pretty destructive effect on the world as a whole himself, but he was still on a different side than the infection.
Well, unfortunately, the Krakens are still out there, still
Yeah.
going, and Showin is mad now.
It could very well be that all of those Krakens are now converging on this place to destroy us,
I wasn't thinking about that.
seeing as we...
Quite
Right.
deliberately.
We need to go downstairs and see if there's anything else, and then we need to take Showin and see if we can hook him up and get anything out of him, like the solution. But it might, as you say, it might be somewhere else.
I
It
would
might
very
be the
much
Kraken.
advise against plugging him into anything that we find that he designed,
Oh, yeah, no,
because it probably
I
has
don't
a
think we're
backup
thinking about
communication.
Yes.
Zolf, we need to sleep.
No, we need to go. We can sleep when this is done.
Zolf, we are
It
going to be
might-
useless. We've been on the go for over 24 hours. We have climbed up and down stairs and ladders for hours.
We cannot spend 8 hours in this place.
Not in
Maybe-
this room, but we need to find somewhere safe.
Let's just go down the stairs. We can run away if we need to, but if we can't stop now.
How are we going to run
we are
away?
useless at this point, Zolf. I'm going to be asleep on my feet in an hour or two. We haven't eaten. We haven't rested. We are whatever is down there. We need to be in peak condition, and we cannot face whatever comes next without resting first.
I'm with him. I'm out of healing.
We
I'm
can't
so
wait.
tired.
If we wait, we give them 8 hours. If Cell is right, we have Kraken conversion on here. There was not one far away.
Well,
we have limited time before this base is potentially destroyed along with us.
I actually quite like the idea of both. So we go down, there's probably, maybe, caves. I would hope that there are some places that are maybe, sealed off, and then we can have a rest. Because I have run out of weapons, and at the moment, if a Kraken turned up, I would be less than useless.
Skraak, does Skraak know if there's a way out via the kobold tunnels?
I can't fit.
We don't know how big they are. They might make them big.
Skraak has said he's never been down here, but I can ask. Skraak?
Oh, Skraak's not in the room.
Skraak? Where's Skraak?
Right.
Buddy?
That solves that conversation. Down we go. And I start walking down.
Cell gives a very sympathetic look to Azu.
Azu trudges after Zolf.
Is it dark down there?
Also, I'm
To
still
be
a big
specific,
fat wing
the iris
monster.
mechanism...
Just to flag that up.
The iris mechanism in the middle of the table opened, and a platform came up.
Yeah.
You cannot climb
You
down
said stairs
that
created.
Stairs got created on either side,
Yeah.
leading up on top
to-
of the table.
Oh.
You can only head down through a lift. There was
Is
also
the
the
platform
chute
the lift?
that the chair was.
Is the platform the lift?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I
Basically, you know that unless he's turned himself into goo, there's a metal grill. He hasn't gone down that way. He could have gone down the chair.
I think
shaft,
he's
I
gone
suppose.
down.
Skraak!
The door that you haven't entered
Yeah.
opens. Skraak then pokes his head out from the entranceway, the sort of galleyway that you initially came up in.
Are you okay? I didn't know where you
Door!
Yeah.
Fixed it.
You
Too
got
much door.
You got it open.
Eh.
Good work, but just so you know, it'd be useful to let me know what you're doing if you're going to disappear, so we don't know where you are.
Ask about the
we're
tunnels.
a team. We're going to stick together.
Right.
We think there are some ancient tunnels below the ground that are down there. We think they might have belonged to the kobolds once. Have you ever heard about kobold caves under here?
Skraak his face screws up, and he's like, yeah. It looks maybe not painful, but it's like he's trying to fit into a space that's too small for him.
Yeah. Skraak, it's okay.
No, yeah.
You think you might
Yeah.
have? Okay, don't force anything. It's going to start. I think it might start coming back to you, but we'll have to see.
we need to
We're going to go down there. You should come with us. Okay, we're going to stick together. Yep.
Skraak just takes a surprising flying leap from the high balcony and just flips and then lands fairly well. Kobolds, they're bouncy, mostly made of rubber.
Is that canon?
Canon, they're mostly made of rubber and enthusiasm. Skraak.
We're gonna go down now. You're gonna stick with us.
Skraak.
Yeah. Okay.
Skraak preps spear ready to sort of activate the lift and just stares.
Cell's wings, by the way, are still pretty massive. I don't think mechanically they're in the way, but they're just awkwardly poking you every now and
You can say
again.
you don't think that mechanically they're in the way, but mechanically they're in the way.
Yeah. Like in a charisma -1 kind of sense.
Yeah, there you go.
They're in the way.
get on the lift.
Yep,
Yeah. I follow.
Yep. Get on the lift.
fair enough. Skraak takes a moment, looks to everyone. Everyone ready?
Double thumbs up.
Is that what he says?
Is what he says. At which point Skraak sort of goes and jabs it in a little bit and pulls his spear out. As the lift starts descending, he scampers up and then leaps onto the platform and stands there. Too much lift. Then it starts to descend and the iris mechanism closes overhead. I'll take a break there, I think. And coming back in. So as you're descending, lights turn on, which is good. The lift appears to be fixed at 3 points,
Like
and it's
3
just
rails. That are
yeah.
going down.
Think 3 rails, so it's like equidistant, equilateral triangle. That's the word. So it's heading down, and lights come on at the level that you're at, and then as it lowers, the next layer of lights come on, and the last layer turn off. So you're sort of in a thing. Skraak's just there, kind of.
Ooh, the claws at the top of the bat wings tapping out a rhythm.
Zolf is silent.
Extends a little closer to Zolf.
Hamid is counter-harmonising.
Flawlessly, presume.
Bryn can't do that, but Hamid can, and he does.
Naturally. The lift journey continues.
Important question. How much time has passed? Because I'm still a giant bat thing.
How long does giant bat thing last?
80 minutes.
That long.
Okay. Yeah, we got a
Yeah,
lot
we
done.
spent quite a lot of time like searching and reading and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. As you descend,
Reading out that diary.
Yes.
I would
Yeah, like a
especially-
whole book.
Sel did all the voices.
Sorry, and then Turin was like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and then Kraken was like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." Love it. So as you're descending, yeah, you slowly start to occupy less space.
And yet, somehow still awkwardly. Actually, no, less awkwardly because my charisma goes from... I was on charisma -2, now I'm only charisma -1.
You become less awkward.
You all feel less awkward
See,
around
the
me.
mechanics, they work. The excessive mechanics work. As we all continue down, actually, you are approaching sort of a light change towards the bottom of the lift. So, like, you can see that you're about to enter a larger room. The lift continues to descend at a steady rate, and then it descends and you enter into a much, much larger space. To be clear, the lift hasn't just sort of plummeted. The 3 points of contact are still extending into what appears to be a huge natural cavern. Okay? So, bear with me as I sort of describe all of it, and then we'll add detail. It appears to be a massive, enormous cavern beyond really the realms that you're able to see, even with dark vision and so on, so we're talking hundreds of feet. It has a sort of ready glow to it, looking down a couple of 100 feet. You just get this for free. There appears to be some lava. Something appears to be blocking it. Appears to be in like a pipe.
But slightly see-through if there's red light coming
Yeah,
out.
so it looks like that basically there appear to be like inspection hatches or something where lots of red light are coming out.
So, I mean, it's quite warm in here as well.
Yeah, so it's very, very warm. There's a lot of steam coming through. Anyone know what's like bright, like hot brine smells like a
Like in Iceland, where you're having
hot
a...
spring? That was
yeah,
the word.
Right.
Yeah. So it has that kind of tang to it.
Does it have a sulfur smell?
Um,
We're underground.
maybe a
With a
little bit.
volcano.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
So that's kind of...
Increasingly
Eddie.
hellish.
Oh my
Eddie
god,
as
we're in
well
a
as-
secret volcano base underneath a secret seafloor base. How many layers of supervillain was
You
this
kept
person?
complaining about Pulpy, so you're now in a secret volcano base at the bottom of the ocean that's also gothic, that's also a giant asylum vibe, that's also an island on the sea.
Too many tropes.
What do you want?
From you, Bryn! From you!
So, as you continue descending, there's the occasional like waft of steam that comes across that has that tang to it. No one's making false saves, you're not suffocating or anything. It's just a flavour thing, but it is slightly
Is it
obscuring
a bit
vision.
uncomfortable in
It's
general?
not. Yeah, it's not nice. That's the best way to describe it. It's not nice.
It seems like it might get quite hot down here. I've got Endure Elements. I could cast it twice. I don't know if anyone else has
I
anything
wouldn't.
else left.
Let's not waste.
I can also do that.
Oh,
You would be
nice.
surprised how often extreme temperatures come up in my line of work.
Use it when we know we need it. Don't use it now.
Okay.
Oh, Sel, you're back.
Hi, yes, slightly less, kind of with the teeth and the claws and the...
It's nice to see you.
So as you
muzzle.
continue descending, you start seeing that there are metal walkways crisscrossing this space, which is massive, by the way, like massive,
Do the
enormous
walkways
cavern.
have rails? How much respect to health and safety
The walkways do.
does this supervillain have?
The walkways do have rails, and they appear to have a handrail at
So more
like
than
a
the
lower
Empire.
height and a higher height.
Ah,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Cell, can you give me a knowledge geography, please?
22.
This cavern shouldn't be here. This is wrong. This is not the way the world works. You can't have a cavern this big at the bottom of the ocean, cause physics.
So, like, this place shouldn't, it shouldn't be. You think about the weight of all the water that's above here,
Right.
and how it might drip through, and how this is a cavern, and there's lava, and, also, basically physics, all of that. This, and geography too. Consider nature as well. Maybe dungeoneering, which is really something that I say you shouldn't put time into learning about because it comes up less than you'd think. All those things together, this is
But
wrong.
how so?
Naturally, this wouldn't be. It's going to need to be propped up with magic or something.
No, that seems reasonable.
Might be reinforced. I mean, there's clearly construction down here. If they built the walkways, maybe they
Most
reinforced
importantly,
the walls.
it's here.
Yes, so.
Unless it's going to imminently collapse on us, it's here.
Well, I mean, the fact that it shouldn't be here is valuable to know because maybe if we turn things off, maybe it will collapse on us. That is a
That is a good point. Yep.
Everyone give me a sense motive, please.
17.
13.
12.
22.
22. Zolf. Oh, Azzy, you're slipping.
I am
Zolf,
tired.
you notice that Skraak's in a bad way. You realise that he hasn't really been piping up or anything, and looking at him, like, ears are down, tail's droopy, shoulders down. Do you know the sort of like sad dog vibe? You know, where it's like, you know, they ate your dinner, and it's not that they're worried they're going to get shouted at, but they know they did wrong.
Yeah.
Like, in their bones, they're not a good dog.
Oh no! Always a good dog.
Apparently, Skraak does not think Skraak is a good dog. Let's put it that way. Skraak is like imploding in on himself.
Hamid,
But what?
what's wrong with Skraak?
Oh, Skraak? Skraak, you okay?
Nothing from Skraak,
Skraak.
save a 1,000-yard stare.
Skraak, what's wrong? Skraak, it's okay. You can talk to us. What's wrong? Have you been here before? A memory's coming back.
It's bad.
What's bad about it, Skraak? What?
Skraak just kind of...
How is it bad?
Should go up. Go back up. Go back up, it's bad.
We've got to know what's down here.
No, it's bad.
Skraak, are you okay?
What's wrong?
He's not very clear. He seems to be afraid. Seems to think this place is bad.
That's too vague. What's
I know. He
What
won't
make
say
him tell
anything.
you?
Skraak, it's okay. We're going to protect you, but you have to tell us what's here.
No, it's bad. Skraak is now like on his haunches. His spear is now just laid down on the lift, and he's just kind of getting small. In fact, no, he's going. He is coiling in on himself like a cat that's ill, or or a snake that's like trying to occupy the minimum amount of space.
Can I pick him up?
Yes.
I would like to pick up the small sad kobold and do a little patty back.
As you do so, you feel a tiny little heart, a pitter-patter fluttering incredibly quickly.
I think he's panicking.
Yeah, he just seems really afraid. But he can't.
He's gone.
He's not able to articulate
Right.
why.
And keep your axe arm free. Ready.
I only need one hand for that. Just
I'd say Skraak basically ends up coiling around your neck. Does the sort of head...
Skraak scarf.
Yes. Does the
A scruff.
Yes. So,
I'm so happy.
Gosh, I wonder if there's a knitting pattern for something like that.
One of our friends has already crocheted a little Skraak. One of our fans.
I have
Did
to
say
warn
friends?
you.
Fans, friends,
I
same thing.
have to warn you that the Skraak, with his head nuzzled into your sort of armpit to hide his head more, technically would be occupying the next slot, but I'm going to allow it. So
Thank
that's
you.
okay.
Reward my compassion, Alex.
I'll do it this time.
I guess I pick up his spear for him.
Go for it.
Put it in my bag.
The lift arrives, by which I mean...
Do we have the brain orb? Who's carrying the brain orb? What are we doing
it's
with
too
the brain
big.
orb?
How big is it?
I'm happy to retcon either way. It is carryable, but it is like the size of a person's torso.
If we were looking for a way out, someone will have had to bring it.
I'm fine for you to just bag of holding it if you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
would it fit?
Bag of holding...
You can't put people in there.
People...
Yes, it's an intelligent. It's an intelligence.
Well,
Interestingly, you can put people in a thing. It's just that they only get a limited amount of like breath.
Oh, it's
so
air.
there's no air in there.
Oh, fine.
They
yeah,
just
whack
get to
it
go.
in. Yeah.
I mean,
Does he
if
put
it
the sword
fits,
in?
if it fits inside the aperture,
Wait a
then
minute. Consulting the judges. Narrative expediency. The orb does fit inside a bag of holding.
Maybe one of you look around and Sel has somehow like constructed a stretchy opening to the bag of holding.
Turns out if you apply enough force to a brain orb, it just fits. Who knew?
Kicking, holding out and kicking.
Mechanically, you have forced the orb into a bag of holding that should not have been big enough to allow it in. Now
was
we
not
know.
a pretty sight.
This is not a
the
precedent.
next time you retrieve something from that bag of holding, it's covered in blue veins. It's not even. It's not even an object with a circulatory system. What happened here?
Not
really
canon. What is canon is that you reach your destination, which is a large metal platform suspended to all intents and purposes in the middle of the cavern. There are 3 walkways leading off to it towards the edges of the room, which are well beyond the range of your vision, and lava
But
is
there's
still...
enough light to just sort of see by for those of us without dark.
there is some light.
Yeah.
There is an ambient glow of doom. So, as it stands, you are now suspended in the middle of this cavern. Maybe not the exact middle, but do you know what I mean? Like,
And there's walkways
laterally the
heading-
middle. And there are 3 walkways, each equilateral triangle style, leading away into different walls of the cavern.
Pick one and start walking.
All right.
Yeah?
Yep.
So, you all start walking, and, yeah, the steam is still sort of obscuring vision a little bit and so on. Can everyone give me a perception roll, please?
Natural 1.
Oh dear.
30.
It's all right for some. I'd say unlucky for some, but 30 is very rarely an unlucky number in Pathfinder.
17.
18.
Hamid, then, you get it first. You know that thing when you are looking at stars, and you're looking at stars, and then, like, you feel like you can see more stars at the edge of your vision, but then you look there, and then they're not there, but it's because eyes, like edge of eyes sense
Eyes
more
are
light.
weird.
But you know what I mean? Like, the stars are there, but they're kind of gone when you look. You're getting that looking out towards the wall of the cavern. It feels like that just immediately senses you're getting
like points of light.
There are points of light. There are points of light kind of dotted around the cavern. That they appear to be green,
We're
not
inside
white.
a giant gemstone, a giant geode.
Well, no. Okay, I mean, I can roll. I've got enough points in knowledge geography that unless I roll a natural 1.
I'm introducing the mechanic of passive geography. Your passive geography goes
Should
on.
I roll to know?
No, it's a passive
Passive
score.
The whole
Geography.
point of passive, yeah.
Yeah, you just know.
No. Just no.
I don't think Hamid even says that
Okay.
in character probably. Like, he doesn't think there's anything worth remarking on here. Like,
fair.
it's ever so slightly weird, but this cavern is just weird, so...
Fair enough.
I mean, let's put it this way: you were already violating the laws of physics.
What's
Maybe it
weird
is an
anymore?
enormous geo.
Yeah.
There we go.
weird anymore?
There we go. Do you even let people know? Do we keep walking?
I honestly don't think Hamid finds that weird enough to remark upon. Like, as far as he knows, it's normal for a volcanic cavern underneath the sea. I mean, frames of reference and stuff, right?
So I think we continue on.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So you press on along the, I was going to say corridor, the walkway, and as you do, the points of light resolve themselves into actually being pairs of points of light.
Oh no.
Stretching up the
Their
walls,
eyes.
all the way out of your range of vision, up, down, to the left, to the right, on all sides of the cavern that you can
Let's
see.
hold off exactly how horrified we should be until we learn if those have faces.
Oh, Lydia!
Just saying. We've seen things split before.
Maybe it's Acme style, like when they animate a dark room and then the light turns on and it's just the eyes going, "Wah."
Yeah.
Like in
Showing
Snow
could have
White.
just put a glow stick in a toilet roll tube.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
It's all smoke and mirrors. Press on, stop.
Yeah, we carry on.
Okay, fair enough. I am basically going to say, you continue pressing on, and then it resolves for all of you for the sake of my ease all at the same time, which is the final briny steam passes away. And you see on the walls, stretching up, down, left and right, prison cells. So like jail cells with metal bars across the front. And within each of them is a kobold with glowing green eyes.
Oh no, that's worse. That's worse.
As we make sure that Skraak can't see that.
Skraak's buried in
God,
his
it's
face.
like a battery farm. or
That's
something.
exactly what we're going for.
Well,
The cages are not large enough for a kobold to do more than sit.
Oh, Alex, no! I don't
Yeah.
even respect your craft
It's
anymore.
not- it
Well,
is-
we haven't respected Skraak for a long time.
Yeah.
It is not nice, and they are stacked on top of one another, up, down, left, right, as far as you can see, circling the cavern.
Why
So
are their
many.
eyes glowing?
Is it the same green as the?
Oh, yes!
I would
yes.
hazard a guess that the same fluid which turned on the big thing up there, like that these are somehow connected. I don't know how. This is not something that I have ever studied. I would really make that clear. But just if there's a catalyzing agent that is able to animate things up there, it may be able to animate controlled drug.
Do to them.
Are they all mind controlled?
Regardless of what's happened, it's going to be bad.
Everyone give me a perception check, please.
Oh god. 13.
Natural 20.
23.
You are all over the map, Zolf. You've gone from 1 to 20 to 1 to 20 and back again.
27.
I don't like your bell curves. They feel wrong to me. I'm going to go with Zolf then. Zolf, you're the first to notice that, around the cavern, you notice that there are a few kobolds having a wander. To be clear, they don't seem to have green eyes the way that the ones in the cells do, but they are just sort of padding along. There's a couple fairly nearby doing maybe some basic maintenance on a cell. Like there's a couple carrying
what?
stuff on the far side. A prison box, which is significantly less dramatic as a word. But yeah, they are sort of padding along, apparently unconcerned. No one seems to have noticed you or anything.
There's maintenance staff.
Oh,
Talk to him.
We should, yeah.
okay.
Hamid, go.
Can you with your voice and your claw thing?
Yeah,
you had a
Yeah,
connection.
they did. I guess
We
we
can't.
just need to find out what's going on. What about the ones in the cells? Are we going to let them out? We can't if the eyes.
They are all perfectly still. You can even see from here. They are breathing, but they're all just staring like dead ahead. No movement.
Can we get close to them? Like, are we able to?
Yeah. So, just to describe it a little bit more, the walkway goes up to a sort of flat walkway that is on a row of these. I've got to call them cells. It's built into my
Fine,
head.
I'll allow it.
They are stacked 3 high with a ladder beside, so you can get to the cells that are stacked. And then there is another walkway after 3 cells up, and then another walkway and the same down below. It's Matrix. It's the Matrix. They're in the Matrix. It's the Matrix. Okay. Cool. At least the goopy bit.
Maybe we should.
We talk to the. We should. I guess I'd talk to the
The ones that don't
maintenance
seem-
ones first and try and find out what's going on with the ones in the cells.
Gentle with
Yeah.
them. I don't think we
wanna
should hurt them anymore.
If we can avoid it.
While they're deliberating, I'm going to go see if there are maintenance staff. There's somewhere they're going or coming from. So I'm going to try and find a way out.
Like a side door to the main cabin. Sure. I am going to separate you out, but I'm going to assume you don't go out of eyesight, or at least close enough, because otherwise.
I can hear them. I'll go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess I go up to 2 of the maintenance kobolds. Hi?
They stop and turn to you. They are dull. I don't know how else to put it. Have you ever been around
Like
someone?
the ones upstairs? Or
No,
worse.
worse. So if the ones upstairs were like, a little bit off, these are bordering on like a catatonic state. They are blank-faced and they just look at you. One of them's holding a spanner, the other one's holding a screwdriver, and they just stand looking at you. It's like they're waiting for orders.
Oh,
I don't think they're okay. What are your orders?
They just kind of point to different bits of the cabin.
Where do you go to get orders?
They both kind of look at one another for a moment, then they just both look up.
Nowhere. Being refreshed. Where do you sleep?
They kind of take a while, then point to just different points in the cabin again.
maybe we should
because there must be some. Those would be safe places, right? There must be places that maybe we can rest, or that we can take some of them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking
if
we keep them away from whatever is keeping them doped up.
They must be getting new doses, right?
With Skraak, it seems like he's changed a lot over the course of just a couple of hours. And I know I estimated before that it might take,
You said
12,
24, I
yeah,
think.
like a while. But maybe it wears
You
off.
might have
Maybe
been
they'll
further
be-
from his most recent dose.
Yeah. So we just need to keep them
We can
safe.
stop them being dosed. Maybe they'll start to recover too.
let's hope so. Should we take one or?
Sella's going to grapple one and tie their hands up.
Grapple's a strong word for
More like a
gently
gentle
lead
hug.
into a rope.
Yeah, gently wrap it around them and then pick them up.
They don't really seem to understand what you're doing, but they're happy to. They would help if they could understand what you were trying to do.
I'm going to talk to the other one and be like, you should follow us. And see if they'll take orders from me.
Kind of looks at you blankly.
I'm not sure that's going to...
Sel looks at the one they're holding like, you're gonna be okay now.
I
You're gonna be okay.
pop my claws and say, you should follow me.
You get nothing.
And I take them away again because I only get a limited number of rounds per day.
They got they got
I
eyes
can say those
like
are extremely
saucers.
good claws.
They got eyes like saucers, but all they do is
Yeah.
look at faces. Zolf, to jump to you temporarily, you find a pressure door, same as the ones they have up in the above place.
Like you mean the submarine
Yeah,
style?
submarine turny door style, and it leads past the cells, as in think if the cells are lining the cavern wall, it just seems to lead to past them.
I've got a way out over here.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess we...
all right. Well,
The one you ordered follows.
Ooh.
Pad.
Maybe it did work then.
we're collecting kobolds.
Pad.
Apparently so. I mean, I would
Better
like
than
to
how they are now. Yes.
let all of them out, but it doesn't seem safe and...
None of the
What would
ones in the
happen?
cells have reacted to you in any way. They're not even staring at you as you go past. They're
Yeah.
just staring out into the cabin.
I don't...
We-
Their eyes are really freaking
There
me
appears
out.
to be some mechanisms within there for basic food and drink. Think water bottle,
There's a pipe in and out.
feed tray. Yeah, there's an in pipe and an out pipe, and there's a bottom pipe, as in like a drainage pipe, if you must know.
Oh, Alex, this is dark.
It's horrible.
This is so distressing.
This is getting all of the content warnings.
Yes,
Yes,
good. It needs them.
Yep.
So as he says, maybe we can come back for them, but right now
Yeah,
we
we follow Zolf, I guess.
Cool.
Let's
Do you open the
find
door?
him.
Yeah.
Okay. Opening the door, on the far side, you can see there is a corridor of worked stone. So it looks like it was maybe a natural one that has then been sort of worked on and chipped out and so on. Medium size, so yeah, everyone
can fit.
yeah, as you could fit in. Let's put it this way.
Good to know.
It looks like it may not once have. This is for Zolf because, like, for obvious reasons, it looks like it was once a small one that someone has worked to be comfortable for medium, not even just like big enough, like comfortable for.
Okay.
It's a nice change.
Yeah.
Did you head down the corridor?
Yeah.
Well then, why don't we head down the corridor?
Wait. Close the door behind us.
Oh.
I breathe in, I breathe out. I close the door behind us.
Guys, we didn't check for traps. We're probably all dead when we opened the door.
Why don't we,
Hasn't told us
why don't
yet.
we close the door on the Nightmare Cavern and end the episode there?
Oh my god, and next week's 150.
Oh, it's going to be awful.
Horrible episode.
Don't trust anything!
Bleak, dark, and horrible.
This is your fault.
Oh yeah, I made this one.
I mean, your craft is impressive, but I don't think I can respect it.
No,
Please
never.
don't. It's horrific. But we'll find out what happens next week at least.
Bye!
Rusty Quill Gaming is a podcast distributed by Rusty Quill and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 international license. Today's episode was directed by Alexander J. Newall and produced by April Sumner. To subscribe, buy merchandise or join our Patreon, visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us online, tweet us at The Rusty Quill, visit us on Facebook or email us via mail@rustyquill.com. Join our community on the Discord via the website or on Reddit at r/rustyquill. Thanks for listening.
This damned flesh prison!
For the first time in my life, I actually think I understand you.